Legend of Korra Season 4, Episode 8, Remembrances. I definitely wasn't expecting this episode to be just like a clip show episode, so that aspect of it did admittedly disappoint me because I was really excited based on, last week's episode. Like, Kavira's at the swamp, she's taking down the tree. I think pretty much everyone was just waiting to see what was going to happen. Like, what is Toph going to do? Is she going to destroy her? Is she going to be like, I don't care? Like, what's going to happen there? And then we get this episode, and unfortunately, it's just a clip show episode. We have, of course, the moments where the characters are in real time, which is pretty much the staple of a clip show. Like, the characters are in a situation where they're just talking about old stuff. And, it was okay. It was definitely funnier than most other clip shows because they were actually interrupting the clip. So everyone that was learning the story, at least in like Bolin's or in Mako's part, when everyone was learning the story for the first time, they kept interrupting and stuff, and like, it was definitely funny. I love that the most, like Prince Wu interrupting. He had like the funniest stuff to say, in my opinion. I love that. And then, the stuff they had with Korra, that was probably like the most realistic and emotional stuff. And then they got to like the crazy stuff with Varrick, and he had my favorite part of the episode when they basically just brought back all the villains, and it was like when Vatu is on the phone with everyone else. That was my favorite part. Like Zahir being on the phone and just the voices they use and stuff was really funny. So that was definitely my favorite part of the entire episode. But I did actually enjoy it. I thought, them interrupting and stuff is what made it worth watching. Honestly, like I said, the stuff with Korra, they all kind of knew the story because it was Korra, Asami, and Tenzin. So it was like, they really did just talk about like the good and the bad. So that was pretty much it. But in the beginning and the end, it was definitely really funny, and they had like Bolin and Varrick talking, and Bolin would interrupt, and he was crying and stuff about Opal, and he was talking about how things don't make sense at the end, and Varrick was just like throwing the whole series together and just like this all happened at one time, and yeah, Bolin turned into a dragon and stuff and saved Korra, all this silly stuff. So I still enjoyed the episode. It was really good. It was really funny. We got to see, a little bit of Prince who actually training, and he sucks at it. He gets touched and it's like, wooed down. So that was really funny, and getting to see Mako's grandmother, like she's it's so funny to see her like obsessed with royalty. It's just really crazy, and like she just hits Mako and stuff. It's just really funny. I enjoyed that, and just everything about Mako's portion of the episode I really enjoyed. Even though Varrick had my favorite part, I think Mako's was done the best just because everyone in that little portion was new to the story. So it was like, oh, you did the relationship stuff, and so they went through all the highs and lows, and they definitely made it more enjoyable to watch than the first time we saw it because it was just like, here we go again, like somebody's screwing up, and Mako's screwing up and lying to somebody, or the girls are screwing up and liking Mako for whatever reason again. And and when they told it in this way, it made it much funnier. And like Prince Wu talking about how Mako was really like neutral in the way he would have breakups with people, and then when he broke up with Korra, she like flipped the table. He's like, now that's a breakup, and stuff like that was just really funny. And just everyone kind of pitching in like, oh, and his grandmother saying when he was got with Korra, like, and you lived happily ever after and stuff like that. It definitely made it enjoyable to go through all the old relationship crap, which is admittedly I think like everyone's least favorite part of the show. And it kind of made it like one of the best. It was like the best part of the episode just because it was new to everyone else, and they were talking about how silly it was and stuff like that. How Mako kept screwing up and all this stuff. So it was really funny, and I enjoyed that. But I can't wait to get back to the main story. Of course, since they did this in this episode, we still have to wait probably 2 weeks because I highly doubt they're gonna do an episode next week. I guess they will though because it'll be after Thanksgiving, so it's not like it'll be on Thursday. So we probably will get an episode next week. But since we had a clip show this week, we still have to wait to see what happens. So the big question in my mind is still what's gonna happen with Kuvira, and is Toph really gonna step in and stuff. So I'm still curious about that, and I think next week is when Bolin and Varrick are going to get back to Republic City. They'll tell everyone, like, hey, this is what we went through. These are some of the people we helped out and stuff like that. But I enjoyed this episode. I'm still, more excited for the main story. So I was a little disappointed, like I said, that this was just a clip show episode. But it was really funny, just the way they did it. It wasn't just like, yep, here's a clip show, and remember when we did that, and then they just play the clips. They at least narrated over it, and they mostly made it really funny. So I did at least enjoy that. We got to have a cool look at the past. And then with Varrick, it was just like a weird jumble of all the action stuff happening at once. So it was really good. They went through the relationship stuff that people pretty much hate in general. And then we got like the serious stuff with Korra, where it was like the spirit wise things where the world's kind of went into chaos, but at the same time, things were helped because airbenders came back. So it kind of covered all the bases of the entire Avatar universe. Like the main points of the series were covered, like not just for Legend of Korra, but even like the Last Airbender. Just the big points were covered: the spirituality, the rights and stuff of all the different people, whether they're humans or benders, or I guess non-benders. Everyone's human, but benders or non-benders and stuff like that. So I enjoyed the way that they kind of touched on all the biggest points, and then added in some of the extra stuff that is, of course, specific to the series, like the other specific character interactions. But overall, it was a good episode. Still wish it was a regular one, but at least they did it well. It wasn't a crappy clip show. So that, with it being a clip show, that's all you can really ask for, is that it's at least done well. So gotta love the stuff they did with Varrick, and just Varrick being Varrick. Of course, the story was just incredibly silly, but I liked it. And of course, comment below, let me know what you guys thought about it, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I have to ask, what did you guys think about the Mako relationship stuff being told in the way that it was in this episode? Because as I mentioned, it's probably the most hated thing in the series, just because of the kind of back and forth nature of it, where Mako continuously just went back and forth between Korra and Asami, and he always had the chance to kind of fix it. He had several chances where, like Korra losing her memories, like he could have just said, like, hey, I kissed Asami, we also broke up, that's the only reason I kissed Asami, stuff like that. And like Wu said, it was like, you had broke up with Korra, so I don't think you're a bad guy for kissing her, which is technically true. I feel like Asami shouldn't have kissed Mako just because it's a mistake, to even really be with Mako in general, admittedly. Like, I like the character, but relationship wise, none of the main characters should be with him. You can find, like, they can add in like a random person in the last episode, and I'd be like, yeah, that's perfect, I don't care. But him having those choices. But how do you guys think that his story was told? Like, did you at least have a better interpretation of it? Did you like it a little bit more, since it was just like, they made it way funnier than it really was when we initially saw it? Or did you still just hate Mako because of it? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.